Hey fly tiers, Darren here. Welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying one of my favorite flies. This is the CDC and Elk. We're going to be doing a little bit of a different take on Hans Willemann's original CDC and Elk in that we're going to be adding a little bit of accent to the CDC body of the fly. I do tie mine a little bit different than Hans tied his originally, but it's a fly that I really like. You can use it sort of as an indicator fly. You can tie the wing either light colored or dark colored, and depending on the water conditions, you might need a light fly to be able to see that without an indicator. Don't forget to leave a comment down below to be entered into our next draw. Let's have a look at the material list and get started. Alright, let's get a fresh hook in the vise. Today I'm going to be continuing my streak of Firehole hooks, and we're going to be using the Firehole 315 again. And this is a barbless with a 2 extra wide gape. And it's a nice curved hook, and I prefer this for tying on the CDC and Elk. We're going to be using Ultra Thread 70D in olive. And we'll just start by putting a base layer of thread, starting it just behind the eye of the hook. And then we'll take that down into the bend a little bit. And this will just kind of give us a bit of a base to tie on our CDC. So next we're going to take a couple of olive CDC feathers. And these are the type 4 CDC feathers. They're longer, and all the barbs don't line up with the tips. I'll put a link in the description below with a little bit more information on the different types. So we just tied those in, and then we'll pull them down to the tips just so we don't have any excess. And we'll wrap that down into the bend of the hook as far as we would like it. And take our thread back up behind the eye. We'll just add a half hitch so we don't lose our thread. Next we're going to take a pair of hackle pliers, and we're just going to use that to join the tips of the stems together so we can twist these two CDC hackles in tandem. You just want to make sure that those are both secured in there. Then we're going to give those a few twists, and you can kind of see how near the hackle pliers you have a lot of fibers hanging off, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. And we'll start winding that onto the hook, and you want to make sure that every time you wind it, you rotate your hackle pliers in the same direction just to maintain that twist. And when you get up near the top, you just want to start stroking those fibers back behind the hook, and those will be nice trailing tendrils for your fly. So we'll catch the stems right at the behind the eye, and we'll trim off the excess there. Now that doesn't look too bad, but we're going to take this one step further, and we're just going to grab a little Velcro brush after we clean up this tag ends here and make sure that's secured. I'm just going to grab a little Velcro brush and give that a couple light brushes. You don't want to go too heavy on this. You don't want to damage the stems. But we'll just kind of pull out some of those fibers that might have been trapped, and that'll help create a little bit more floating ability to this fly. It'll help trap a little bit more air. So we're going to accent this with a little bit of golden brown ice dub. You don't need a lot, just a very small amount. And I like to tie this on the sides like I'm tying on flash on a woolly bugger tail or something like that. So just a little bit on one side, pull it over to the other side. And if you have a little bit too much, you can just kind of pull it out. Trim it if you need. Just adds a nice little bit of an accent to the fly. So next we're going to take our elk hair, And as I mentioned in the intro, sometimes I'll use a darker shade of elk and sometimes a lighter shade. And the lighter shade is really great for using as an indicator on dark colored water. You don't have to use any extra strike indicator, and it's easy even if you have less than ideal eyesight to kind of keep an eye on your fly. So we'll just cut off a small clump of the hair and we'll clean out the under fur and some of the long stuff. If you want to, you can stack this. I don't find it necessary if you've got a good patch of deer hair. We just wrap that on with a couple loose wraps and then we tighten it down. We want to put a couple wraps underneath the front of the butt ends just to kind of prop that up so you're not getting your eye blocked. And then we go back and tie a few wraps in between. Then we'll trim off all the tag ends. We got a nice neat little head there. Then we'll go ahead and whip finish, and I typically just whip finish between the wing and the head, but if you would like, you can also add a whip finish underneath the head, in between the head and the eye. It works as well. So we're just going to finish this off with a little bit of head cement, and then this one's ready for the fly box, and hopefully some trout will take interest in this, and you'll see this in a future blog, in the jaws of a trout. Hey fly tiers, thanks for stopping by and checking out my fly tying videos. If you enjoyed the video and want to show your support, hit the thumbs up and share it to your social networks. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, be sure to hit the bell icon to get notifications on my latest fly patterns, tips, and reviews. If you have a question or comment, leave a message below. You'll also be entered into the next draw for some of the flies I tie and a few stickers. Until next time, this is Darren saying, keep a hook in your vise. Cheers.